Acclaim was a publisher that always tried to run with the big dogs. They could never really do this, as in the 2000s their catalog was just filled with licensed tie-ins, underwhelming sports titles, and efforts to compete with existing franchises that never lived up to the competition. Today's game would end up being the latter. This is the Emotion Engine Enduro, where we're on a mission to play every PlayStation 2 racing game. My name is Cass, and this is ATV Quad Power Racing 2. ATV Quad Power Racing 2 is a 2003 release developed by Climax and, as said above, published by Acclaim. This is the same team who would go on to develop ATV Offroad Fury 3 for Sony a year later in 2004. Quad Power Racing 2 also got a release on GameCube and Xbox. The first ATV Quad Power Racing game actually predates the ATV Offroad Fury series, being released in 2000 on the original PlayStation. A third ATV Quad Power Racing was planned for a 2005 release, but with Acclaim going bankrupt in 2004, the series would be dead in the water and never be revived. Having recently reviewed Climax's ATV Offroad Fury titles and having very positive experiences with both of them, I was fairly excited coming into this game. Unfortunately, that excitement wore off pretty quickly. Let's start with the career mode. You have one championship available at the start, place third or higher, get the second, place third or higher in that one, and get the last championship. The point system itself is a bit different from what you may be used to, and I'm very conflicted about how I feel on it. Like most racing games, you do get points based on where you finish. 25 for first, 20 for second, 15 for third, etc. There is, however, a second set of points awarded at the end of each race. This second set of points is actually based on your trick score. You gain trick score by doing wheelies, flips, and just various inner tricks. The trick score is actually weighted exactly the same as the finishing position. So the rider that gets the most amount of trick points gets 25 points, same as the winner of the race. This means that you can win every single race, which is not very hard to do because the AI is not particularly fast, and you can still come second, third, or even fourth in points because you didn't do enough backflips during the race. This ended up frustrating me a little bit because I'm not a huge fan of freestyle and doing tricks, but on the other hand, I do understand how some people may really enjoy this because you don't only have to be fast, you have to be stylish at the same time. Performing these tricks is something else I'm very conflicted upon. There are a ton of tricks available and you can connect them all with wheelies, endos, and even bicycles. What gets very frustrating is that there's a noticeable delay from when you press a button to do a trick until the trick actually happens, and sometimes nothing happens. It's like the game doesn't even register you're trying to do a trick. In the harder championships where you really have to maximize points to stand a chance in the standings, it gets incredibly frustrating very quickly. If you do want to get better at tricks, there is a dedicated freestyle mode that you can use to practice. You can choose between 1 and 10 minutes or even infinite and try to beat the arbitrary score that the devs set for you. There is, however, just a singular environment and there's no unlocks tied to it. So it's just kind of a nothing burger mode that they threw in. Most of the tricks you can perform in this freestyle mode are actually going to be locked at the start of the game. The character you play as has a level attached to him that the only thing I notice it does is unlock more tricks as you go. There are other stats there, but they never seem to make any difference on how my rider performed during the race. So I'm not sure if the difference is very minor or if there's not actually any real difference at all, and it's just a whole bunch of levels there. I felt it a weird decision to lock tricks, as any kind of depth the freestyle mode would have had is just hidden away until you've played the game for 3 or 4 hours. Now, if like me, you're not a huge fan of freestyle, there is an arcade mode present. You'll go through 15 races with the AI starting it pretty easy and increasing and getting pretty difficult as you go through. Win all of them and you unlock an ATC. There's an ATC in the game? Okay, they get points just for having an ATC. The ATCs are really cool, and I genuinely can't think of another game that's ever had one. The arcade mode is super simple, but it is the way to go if you just want some pure racing. For arcade mode and the 3 championships, you'll race in the same 15 tracks one time each. These 15 tracks are sped through 5 different environments. What gets me is that all 3 tracks on each environment just have a few corners changed or might be ran in reverse. So 15 tracks really only ends up being 5 with slight modifications, leaving the racing feeling pretty repetitive pretty quickly. On the main menu, there will be one more race type available in the form of challenges. Challenges are probably the most unique thing in the whole game as well. Floor challenges I do find a bit underwhelming. Each one consists of slaloms, wheelie challenges, or endo challenges where you just avoid all the cones and drive on a pretty flat and bland surface. I end up feeling like I was doing Gran Turismo license tests, but in kind of the worst way possible. The tower challenges do shine a bit brighter, however. There's a giant pre-made tower over water with all sorts of wacky obstacles in it. Jumps, stairs, off-camber inclines. They really test your skill and your patience. This is where I think you can really get lost in the game for a few hours. It's almost like a Trials game, except fully 3D and a lot more frustrating at times. Where I think the tower challenges and a lot of the game falls apart a bit are with the physics. The physics are incredibly arcadey, but they try to add some depth and I think failed pretty miserably at it. When taking a corner, it does almost feel like you have infinite grip until you turn just a little bit too sharp, and then the quad all of a sudden oversteers but understeers off the track at the same time. I don't know how that makes any sense, but that's what the devs decided to do. There is a trick where if you move the stick only about 80% over to each side when cornering, you will be stuck to the road at all times. It's just not the easiest to be that precise, and people who like to steer with the D-pad will struggle with this a little bit more as well. Much like many off-road power sports games, suspension preload is here and pretty important to learn, but I do feel like it's a little underbaked and a little ridiculous. Performing a preload is incredibly simple. You just hold down the R1 button, watch this meter fill, and just let it go at the top of a ramp. They actually give you a lot of time between filling the meter and actually hitting the top of a ramp, so it is an incredibly forgiving feature. To the point where I almost feel like it doesn't even need to be here. In the MX vs ATV games and the ATV Offroad Fury games, you have to pull the left stick back and flick it forward at the top of a ramp to preload. There's actually a lot of timing that goes into it, and even if you get the timing down, you might not always get it perfectly. It's something to learn and something to master. Here, again, it's just another button. There's no depth to it, there's nothing to learn. Just make sure you hold it down before you get to a jump. That's all you gotta do. One more thing that the preload does do is let you just bunny hop anywhere. Just hold down the button, let the bar build, and hop. The only time this is actually really useful is in the tower challenges, because there's these little stairs that this is really the best way to get over. You can try to wheelie, but you're probably just gonna get stuck if you do it. There is one more feature that I do have to mention about this game, and that is the kick button. You can press R2 and absolutely kick the crap out of an AI. This is super fun to do and super satisfying to kick them directly off their quad into the dirt. Just be warned, because when the AI gets harder, they also start kicking a lot more, making it kind of essential for you to start doing this to them before they do it to you. This is genuinely the funnest part of the game. It is so entertaining to just kick the crap out of them. After playing through the whole ATV Offroad Fury series, I was incredibly excited to play Quad Power Racing 2. Not only was it a direct competitor of the ATV Offroad Fury series, but this developer would actually take over that series the next game in the next year. So this game must have been pretty good, right? Unfortunately not, and that was very unfortunate for Acclaim, because this just acted as another nail in the coffin before they filed bankruptcy the next year. ATV Quad Power Racing 2 gets a 46 out of 100. While there is some fun to be had in the tower and the kick mechanic is a blast, the rest of the game just kind of feels underbaked and subpar at best. I think there is an audience for this game, but there are far better options for quad racing on the PlayStation 2. Thank you all so much for watching episode 13. ATV Quad Power Racing 2 goes down in the bottom half of the chart and quite a ways below the worst rated ATV Offroad Fury title. If y'all haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next episode of the Emotion Engine Enduro, or when we live stream these games, which we also do over at twitch.tv/COisNOTpog. Next week, we actually have a viewer donation reward, so we are moving up Le Mans 24 Hour for episode 14.